We are live once again on Saints Now by Chat Sports. As always, I am your host, Trace Girouard. No matter where you are or how you're tuned in, we greatly appreciate the Who Dat Nation, especially this year, despite how bad things are going, for being a part of our day and making us a part of your day. So we really do greatly appreciate every single one of you. Queen Courtney, Chase Cottom, David, and Trexie, Patrick Johnson, Mir Comet, all hanging out with us, getting the comment section going before we even get this party started. Now, if you guys are excited to be a part of the show, I need you to type those S's down below in the comments, in the live chat. DJ Mutt King, what's going on, brother? Hope you are doing well, my friend. I've sent you a couple DMs. I remember you hitting me up about being the Super Bowl headquarters for Chat Sports in New Orleans. So I responded to some of those. I don't know if you've seen them, but we'd still love to see you. We'd still love to hang out and see you down in the Super Bowl, because despite the Saints not being there, I will be there covering it for this guy, Chat Sports right here. Trace, if we go on this miracle run, what are we doing? Absolutely losing our minds is what we're doing. Vincent, Patrick, Noel, Trexie, all typing those S's. Patrick Johnson saying what's up. Buddy says the first two games, this is why I enjoyed every second when teams are good. Yep, I'm with you, buddy. Who Dat Nation from Mark. David says Who Dat for life. Charles typing those S's. I love to see it. Mark, shout out to you. Mir Comet, shout out to you as well. And everyone else who's hanging out with us, all 59 people watching right now. If you haven't already, by the way, like the video so we can get more Saints fans in the live stream. But I got to ask you this question, because one of the topics of discussion today is Dennis Allen replacements. So let me know, who do you want to be the next Saints head coach? Who should it be? Who do you want it to be? I'm curious. I got a lot of names that I'm going to go through, so I'm not going to give you any of those because I don't want to spoil the fun, you know. But let me know. Rick says, what up, buddy? Who dat? What's up, Rick? Hope you're having a wonderful day. Ben Johnson from Patrick. Johnson. Patrick, any relation? You guys brothers or something? Kenny says Eric Bieniemy. Ryan Clark from ESPN from DJ Mutt King. Sonia says Drew Brees. Bill Belichick from Rick. Charles says Ben Johnson. Mir Comet, who are we playing after the Panthers? Because if this game isn't a blowout, I'm not watching another game because I'm not trying to worry about it. You play the Panthers and then the Falcons back-to-back. So I do have the full schedule. We'll talk about all that. Like, don't worry, Mir Comet. Trust me, you're going to want to hang out for a while. Kirk Cousins. You want Kirk Cousins to be the head coach? That's kind of impossible, Patrick. Unless you're saying somebody else. Oh, you guys are cousins. You guys are cousins. That's sick, dude. That's sick. If you ever want to get your cousin on the show, you and your cousin are more than welcome. Have an open invite, if you will. Love to pick your brains, love to talk Saints football, and honestly, we just love to talk ball with either of you guys more than anything. Just football. It's great, you know? Patrick says I'll give him a call. Awesome, Patrick. And also, when you're on the phone, tell him, hey, bunch of crazy Who-Dats, bunch of crazy Cajuns want you to be their head coach as well. Ben Johnson would be great. Ben Johnson from Queen Courtney and Rick. John Gruden from Ray. Not a name we mentioned, but definitely a name I'm going to have a segment about here coming up soon. Jerry G, what's up, man? Thank you for joining us. And also, I mean, I know that there's not a lot of things to be excited about right now. Like, as a Saints fan, it's not a lot. But the holiday, you got a fun little holiday tomorrow. If you guys are pumped up for Halloween, whether you're trick-or-treating, whether you're taking your kids trick-or-treating, whether your girlfriend's dragging you to a party, whether you're dragging your girlfriend to a party, or, you know, whatever. If you're just excited to get some candy, have some fun, get some scares out, you know, all that fun stuff, like the video, because I'm pretty pumped up. I actually, for our Halloween costume, Maddie and I, we were Hawaiian Punch. So I wore a Hawaiian shirt, like a fishing hat, the fun sunglasses, crazy pants, and like sandals. I wore Chacos, if you guys know what those are. I wore my Chacos, my Hawaiian shirt, my hat. And then she wore boxing gloves, this robe, all this crazy stuff. So we were Hawaiian Punch. You get it? Pretty fun stuff, right? 73 people watching, 16 likes. Not a single person is excited for Halloween. Really? Really? Well, here's the deal. If we don't get to 20 likes in the next 60 seconds, I'm ending the live stream, and we'll just film this all outside of live. How's that sound? You want to test it? You guys want to test it? 60 seconds. You get me to 20 likes, or we're cutting this stream off. Don't test me on this. Don't test me. I will end the stream right now. I have no problem. I'll set a timer. 60 seconds. 60 seconds. Go. You guys got to get us to 20 likes, otherwise I am shutting the stream off. I am shutting the stream off. KS King Saucy says test him. Okay. Then fine. We'll just, you guys want to try? You guys want to try? We're still 5 likes away. 20 seconds in. Don't test me on this. Mere comment says don't end it. Well, better get some more likes on the video, man. Otherwise we have to. We're 2 away. Come on. 30 seconds. 2 more likes. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it right now. 2 more. I'll refresh it. See what we're doing. All right, we're at 34. That's much better. We can get jiggy with that. All righty. Now, I do want to ask you guys. Sonia says, I don't celebrate Halloween. No worries, Sonia. If you guys are excited for the weekend, then like the video. You know, it doesn't have to be all that fun stuff. Mere comment says, I liked it twice, Trace. Or I liked it, Trace. There you go. Is Mike McDaniel an option? Get him from the Dolphins. Patrick, I'm not sure if he's an option. He's not one that I have listed. Need Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis to go missing from Justin. Yeah, I definitely don't. I'm not happy with either of those 2 guys. I don't know if they need them to go missing and have this crazy this true crime documentary be made about our football team, but definitely not happy with those guys. Alrighty, 1 second. If we lose the Panthers, do they have to fire Dennis Allen? I mean, they don't have to. They should. They don't have to. What's up? Yeah, it did. I put them both up there. Whatever you want to do. Yeah, per usual, doesn't really matter. All right. So, what's your Halloween costume? I know a lot of you guys. Some of you guys aren't necessarily celebrating Halloween. Maybe you guys have kids that are dressing up, and you have friends. Maybe you're a teacher and you have students dressing up. What's your Halloween costume? / if you were dressing up, what would you want to be? We didn't push it over. Text didn't push it over. Yeah. So we have a question. What's your Halloween costume? KS King Saucy says, yo, Trace, I literally left New Orleans and you wanted to stop by so bad and tell him he's fired. Bro, you say now I wanted to stop by. Yeah, you should have. You should have, man. You should have. Queen Courtney says, I'm wearing my weather girl costume from work. That's a good costume, Queen Courtney. That's a great costume. I am going to be wearing, what am I going to wear tomorrow? Oh, I remember what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you because it's a surprise. I'm not going to tell you. Okay, fine, I'll tell you. I'm gonna wear a Saints polo, wear a hat, and then a clown mask. I'm gonna be Dennis Allen. Isn't that fun? Ain't it fun? Well, it'll be great. It'll be great. I quit watching the press conferences. It's nothing new from Jerry G. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's the same shit regurgitated every week at this point. Yes, Queen Courtney, I did see your super chat, and here you are. Who dat? Fire Dennis Allen. Ben Johnson is head coach. Drew Brees, quarterback coach. New O-line. I don't know any LOL. Hey, new O-line coach. Queen Courtney, don't feel bad. I'm with you. I'm not necessarily well-versed in the top offensive line coaches across the league. If I had to name one offensive line coach, the only one I can think of is Sam Pittman, the former offensive line coach for the Georgia Bulldogs, who is now the head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. That's literally the only one I can think of, Queen Courtney. So do not feel bad whatsoever. All right, 70 people hanging out, 35 likes. Let's pump those numbers up, and let's have some fun. We're going to be talking about some injury updates. We're going to be talking about some news, rumors, all sorts of crazy stuff. We're going to go through a bunch of different Dennis Allen replacements. It's going to be a loaded show, and I'm super excited to go into it with you guys. Do you think they should re-sign Michael Thomas? Look, Mike Thomas is one of the best Saints players, one of the best players at his position in Saints history. All that being said, the bridges with this current regime have not only been burned, they have been nuked. The New Orleans Saints will not bring back Michael Thomas as long as Mickey Loomis is the GM, as long as Dennis Allen's the head coach. If things change, maybe, but probably not. And honestly, I'll also say this. I love Mike Thomas. Again, he's one of my favorite players, but I don't want to say there's a reason he's not been signed, but there's a lot of teams out there who have wide receiver injuries, and not a single one of them, as far as I'm aware of, none of them even brought Michael Thomas in for a visit. So I want him to be a New Orleans Saint. I would love for him to be a Saints. I'd love for him to have never had injuries and just keep being on the roster. Unfortunately, that's just where we're at, though. That's just where we're at. See, Justin, I don't even know if Gail needs to sell the team. I think she just needs to fire Mickey Loomis. I don't think you need to sell the team. I think you need to fire Mickey Loomis and have a new GM, promote Kai Harley maybe, and think you're sitting pretty. All righty, let's make this happen. We're going to start off with some injury news, some positive news. Just for the record, there's been a lot of negativity around the Saints this year. We're going to do positive injury news to start things off. And we're going to start off talking about some positive injury news around your quarterback. And then we're going to go through the injury report. And then we're going to have some fun. Should we trade? Who should we trade or trade for? Mike, I've gone through those a lot. Today, we are not going through trade rumors just because we've talked about a lot of trade rumors. I actually posted a video yesterday about players that the team could trade away. Chase Young was named. Marshawn Lattimore I named and stuff. So if you want to go check out who I think should be traded, go look at that video. Also, just scroll down the channel. You'll see all sorts of trade rumor videos, trade buzz, players that I would like to trade for, dream trade scenarios, blockbuster trade scenarios, all that kind of stuff. So we're not really doing any trade discussion today. The New Orleans Saints, they're saying they're not operating as sellers. They're certainly not going to be buyers. So there you go. All right, we're going to get into it. We're going to have some fun, and let's talk about some injury news. It's about damn time we finally get some positive news around the New Orleans Saints. And to be quite honest, I never really thought that I would be sitting here saying, thank God Derek Carr is coming back from injury. Reports coming from Dennis Allen are pretty optimistic that the Saints quarterback will be able to return this week against the Carolina Panthers after missing multiple weeks due to an oblique injury. And he's only missed 3 games, but those 3 games feel like a lifetime. And to be honest, it feels like it's been a lifetime since those first 2 games. And it feels like it's an entirely different season at this point. And, ever since Derek Carr has not left the team, but ever since he's been injured and he's been ruled out and missing games, this offense has been atrocious. They haven't been good. They've been very, very, very bad. They've been in a bad situation offensively, in a bad situation defensively. Special teams has been a mess. And Derek Carr this season has been able to be pretty productive. This is an interesting, discussion, though, because a lot of the players that Derek Carr was able to put up these stats you see on your screen with, a lot of those guys are hurt. A lot of those guys aren't playing this week. And a lot of those guys, funny enough, are on IR, unfortunately. And so, it's good news for Derek Carr, no doubt about it. But my big thing is it too little too late? And, just more context on this injury update. Dennis Allen did speak about it. Talked about how he looked at practice today in his first day throwing, officially throwing in the last few weeks. Said he looked good in the throwing session. I would expect him to be back out at practice on Wednesday, which he was. And then we'll go from there and see what his availability is this week. But I'm optimistic about it. And all the reports around Derek Carr have been positive coming out of practice today, indicating that he is likely to play. They're optimistic that he's going to play. And now it's just a matter of them stacking days and making things happen. But, guys, we don't get a lot of injury news. It's been very brutal. I mean, the injury bug has taken a massive bite in the Saints' ass. So it's time to celebrate some positive injury news. Derek Carr, whether you love him or hate him, you love to see a player come back from injury. So like the video if you're pumped up that the New Orleans Saints finally have something positive worth talking about. And, really quick before we go to saving the season, if Derek Carr is a reason to like the video, well, guess what? Eric McCoy, he's not going to be back this week, but he will likely be back this season. So you might get your center back. So if that's good news to you, hit the thumbs up icon. Now, there's a discussion around whether or not this season can be saved and whether or not Derek Carr can save the season. And to be honest with you, this is not a very inspirational quote. After the Saints starting the season 2-0 and going down a 6-game losing streak for the first time since 2005, there are 9 games remaining, and it's going to take a miracle to make the postseason. And Derek Carr today, he understands that there is pressure and that there's a lot of things that need to go right for the Saints to have a postseason, to make the playoffs. And, what it's like to be on a struggling team. And I'm going to be honest, like I'm not necessarily sure what I make of this quote because it's not very inspiring, but it also is kind of like, okay, I get it. It's realistic. Quote from Derek Carr today, "I'm no savior. There has only been one of those, and that is not me. I'm here to be a great leader and to be a great teammate and to do my job to the best of my ability." And just a couple thoughts. Like, I totally agree with him. I totally agree. His job is to come in and be the absolute best that he can possibly be. It is unrealistic to expect Derek Carr to be the savior. It's unrealistic to expect Derek Carr to be able to go 9-0 over these next few games. I mean, maybe you can get right against the Panthers. Like, might be the first season ever I project the Saints to lose a game to the Falcons. But the Falcons are much better than the New Orleans Saints right now. I hate saying it. It's like, it's literally like bleach in my mouth. It sucks to say, but it's the truth. The Browns, you're going to more than likely, unless there's an injury, you're going to be having a Jameis Winston revenge game. That's not going to be a free win. They just beat the Ravens for the record. Week 12's the bye. Shout out the bye week. Can't lose that week. The Rams, not confident. Just not. A few weeks ago, I'd have been like, yeah, no problem against Daniel Jones and the frickin' Giants. You kidding me? I just genuinely don't. I can't confidently say we're going to beat the Giants. We're definitely not going to beat the Commanders. Week 16 in Green Bay in December. Yeah, that's a loss. Week 17 against the Raiders. Maybe, just maybe, you find some way to win that one. I know Derek Carr is going to be fired up for that game. But that's, like, my point being, on these next 8 games in the next 9 weeks, you have a bye week. In 2 games, I'm confident you can win. 3 games, I'm confident you can win. Like, just to be straight up, my biggest fear is that the New Orleans Saints go on a win streak here. Whether they rattle off 5 or 6 wins, or maybe they win 7 or 8, the worst thing, in my opinion, that could happen to the New Orleans Saints is that they go 10-7, or that they go 9-8, like 8-9. Like, that's the worst possible scenario, in my opinion, for the New Orleans Saints. Right now, you have the 6th overall pick. It's pretty good real estate. And even if you're not in love with any of the players that are at the top of the draft, guess what? You can trade down, stack up more picks for the future. And I don't think that that's a bad way of going about it either. I mean, look, this is a situation where you either have to win out or you have to embrace being bad. I don't think you can go and win 4, 5, 6 games and get to 8-9, get to 9-8, get to 10-7, and just miss the playoffs, have the 20th overall pick, like 15th, whatever it is. Like, pick one or the other. Go and win every single game, or just embrace being bad. Embrace playing some of your young rookies. See what you got in some of those guys, and see what happens. Because to be honest, like, Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener weren't great. They weren't. But for a team that has 2 wins, that hasn't won since August, September, like my point being, this team is on a historically bad downward spiral. You could ride it out with one of those 2. You could have them each go and be like, you know what? Shout out Derek Carr. He's our QB1. He's making a lot of money. We also have a really bad football team. We got to figure out which one of these 2 young quarterbacks we want to roll with. At least we want to keep around, because in my personal opinion, I don't think it makes sense to keep Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler forever and ever and ever. Amen. But you see what I'm saying? Like, you could either go and try and win it every single game, have Derek Carr out there, knowing that you don't have a healthy roster, knowing that you're lacking top-end talent because a lot of them are injured, and understanding that you have incompetence leading your football team in Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen. Look, I don't think it's a bad option to say, you know what, let's let the young quarterbacks play, see if we can get them some confidence, see if we can get them figured out, see what we got here, and maybe we have to draft something at the early stages of the first round. I don't know. I don't think it's a terrible option. Now, I'll ask you this question. Who should start? Derek Carr, Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler. Right now, as things stand, Derek Carr will be the quarterback, assuming things all go well this week. Jake Haener will be officially named the backup. Spencer Rattler will be the third-string quarterback. I don't think it's too much of an indication. A lot of people are going to get really up in arms about, where these 2 guys are on the roster. I genuinely wouldn't. He is your starting quarterback. He is the one who will be taking snaps. When it comes to these two guys, look, Rattler did not play well. Haener did not play well. Neither of them really jumped off the screen, in my opinion. So for these two guys, look, Rattler deserves a chance to develop. He's a rookie. He deserves a freaking chance. So if you're in the camp of cut Spencer Rattler, shame on you. Jake Haener, he showed some good things. Don't get me wrong. There was some really nice flashes. But I wasn't sold enough. I wasn't wowed. I wasn't shocked. I was like, okay, some good stuff. Awesome. But we're not being great. We're not being consistently good. You know what I'm saying? So just kind of my little TED talk about these three. But again, who should start? Now, coming up next, we're going to go through the Week 9 injury report for the New Orleans Saints. It is a long list, almost 30 total names between between the Panthers and the New Orleans Saints. But before we get into that, I got to say shout out to one of my favorite sponsors we have here at Chat Sports, and that is Game Time, the best ticketing app in the whole wide world. And if you're like me and you like going to concerts, comedy shows, sporting events, and everything in between, then you should check out the Game Time app, because not only do they have the best seats, lowest price guaranteed, you can also actually get $20 off your first purchase with code CHATSPORTS. Now, Maddie and I, we're going to go see a country band here in Dallas, Texas by the name of Whiskey Myers, one of my favorite bands. And she was able to get tickets. She was able to save a few bucks. And, hey, that means I'm probably going to go get myself a T-shirt at the show, thanks to our promo code CHATSPORTS. Game Time also has a new feature called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. They filter out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. So download the great Game Time app today, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Once again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. All the information is in the comments and description of this video. What time is it? It's game time. Injury report time. Some good news, some bad news, just news in general. So in terms of players who did not participate, there were only 6 names, which I know 6 is a lot, but to say only 6 feels pretty nice, to be quite honest. Marshawn Lattimore, he is dealing with a hamstring injury. He did not participate at practice today. Tyrann Mathieu missed practice with an illness, so pretty good news there. I think he'll be okay to play this week. Bub Means, late in the game last week, he got shaken up, dealing with an ankle injury. Really sucks to see him get hurt, because I've been pretty impressed, not blown away, but pretty impressed with the limited action we've seen from him. Kendre Miller, he's dealing with a hamstring injury. Where have I heard that? Oh, yeah, the beginning of the season when he was dealing with a hamstring injury, and he was placed on IR. But interesting to note here, it's the other hamstring. It's his other leg. So, yeah, here we are, our sweet TCU Horned Frog Prince. I honestly, I'm very high on Kendre Miller. It pisses me off that he keeps getting hurt. Rico Payton, one of the best stories for the New Orleans Saints. He is dealing with a back injury, a cornerback that made the roster out of Pitt State. He's a good player. He's been very impressive this season. So when his name's been called, he's answered, and I hope that he can get back on the field. Cedric Wilson, still dealing with a hip injury, missed last week. You know, maybe he can play this week. I see people in the chat saying release Kendre Miller. That legitimately is the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Enrico Payton doesn't even play, from Debo the God. Debo, just say you don't watch Saints football, because he's been playing more snaps than you would assume. He's been getting a lot of run. Derek Carr, he was a limited participant. Good news there. Same with Juwan Johnson with a shoulder injury. He did avoid a concussion, so that's really good news there. Alvin Kamara, he's been dealing with a lot of injuries. Hand, rib, hip, headaches, eye aches, just being pissed off all the time. Yeah, that's me as well. Most of that's just a joke. But he is dealing with a hand and rib injury. Jamal Williams with a groin injury. Nick Saldiveri, he was limited, so maybe getting some extra depth on the offensive line. And Kool-Aid McKinstry as well, a limited participant. Obviously, the cornerback group needs to get some of these guys healthy, because when it comes down to it, Paulson Adebo out for the season with a broken femur. Marshawn Lattimore dealing with an injury. That means Kool-Aid McKinstry, Rico Payton, those guys are hurt. So who's your one star, or who's your one healthy cornerback? Delonte Taylor, number 1 himself. Now, injury update around Chris Olave. This is actually pretty interesting here. So during practice today, Chris Olave was wearing a Guardian cap. And if you guys don't know, it's those big mushroom head looking things that go on top of the helmets that Offensive linemen are a lot of linemen are wearing them this year. Some receivers, but a lot of the guys in the trenches are wearing them predominantly. It's because they're taking a lot of hits, a lot of contact, a lot of trauma to the head. So it does a lot more to protect their head. And interesting enough, he was wearing a Guardian cap that looked like the Saints helmet. Catherine Terrell putting out a post earlier in a report that he was wearing it and that, maybe this is what is because he's going to wear it for game day. But Nick Underhill shutting that down. He has no plans to wear it in the game. Should he? I mean, the aura looks really a lot better whenever he doesn't have the Guardian cap. But he's also a lot better when he's on the field. So if that means he has to wear a Guardian cap, I'm all for player safety, and I'm all for keeping Chris Olave on the field. Now, we do have 2 full participants. Good news for both of these guys. Their practice windows to return were both today, so both of these guys full participant. Shane Lemieux, again, offensive line might be getting a little extra depth back, and Nefi Sewell, the linebacker, plays a lot of special teams, does get some linebacker run. He's dealing with a knee injury, so he is back at practice as well. Now, tomorrow is Halloween. So I got to ask, what is your Halloween costume? Maddie and I, we had a Halloween party this past weekend. I dressed up in a Hawaiian shirt and like one of those fishing hats, Chaco sandals, all that fun stuff. And then she dressed up with like boxing gloves, a robe, like the box braids, all that kind of stuff that girls do. So we were Hawaiian Punch. Pretty fun idea. So I want to know, what is your Halloween costume, or what are you dressing up with the kids, all that fun stuff. Who Dat Nation, y'all stay golden, Happy Halloween, be safe. We'll see you next time. All right, Debo the God asking, when does Rico Payton hurt? Well, I will tell you right now. I will give you his exact snap count every single week right now. Rico Payton, for the record, has an overall grade of a 66.2 according to PFF. He has played 22 snaps in total on defense. And then he's played a good amount as well on special teams. So there you go. Yeah, I would not expect a rookie undrafted free agent to be getting 70, 80 snaps a game at this point in the season. He's a rookie undrafted free agent. So, and he's been good when he's been called on. So Debo, get your PFF subscription going, brother. Who do you want to be the next Saints head coach? We're going to be talking about head coach candidates now. It's going to be fun. Wow. So listen to this. If the Saints lose a 7th straight game, it'll be the first time that's happened since 1999. For the record, I wasn't even 1 year old. I wasn't even 1 year old. I was not even 1 year old. So there you go. Debo saying he doesn't play. 22 snaps sounds like he plays. 22 snaps sounds like on defense. Not that's not special team snaps either. That's not special team snaps. So Debo, I mean, you can say you're right, but factually saying he does not play when he plays 22 snaps, that is not an accurate statement. Excuse me. But Debo, appreciate you subscribing. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks for keeping the comment section moving. Yeah, here we go. Let's get into it. Head coach replacements. We don't have any good young players. Debo, did you forget about Chris Olave? Did you forget about Brian Brzee, Alontae Taylor? Like any of those guys? They just don't exist? Like, they don't have a lot of great players, but they have, to say that Chris Olave isn't great, Rashid Shaheed, like, come on. Yeah, Olave's not the only one, brother. Debo, Breast mid and Taylor mid. I don't know who Breast is. Brian Brzee is good. He's a good player. He's a second-year player. If you're expecting him to be Aaron Donald, then I think you have some wild expectations that will never be met. But that's neither here nor there. Debo, appreciate you. Can't play He can't play rush good. Debo, Brian Brzee is one of the top in sack production for the Saints. He's a top 3 in sacks for the Saints. So I don't know if you say he can't play against the run good. Is that what you're trying to say? He doesn't play the rush good. He doesn't play against the rush? Like, he doesn't play against the run? Not pass rush, rush defense. Okay, run defense. Yeah, he doesn't play against the run well. He's a second-year player, dude. He's a second-year player. Like, you're allowed to get better throughout your career. That's Debo, I think this is a prime example of why we should not be living in a microwave society where everyone expects perfect results right at the ass from a rookie. Terrible expectations, terrible way to go about it, terrible mindset. That's just my opinion. I'm just somebody who has an opinion. I'm somebody who's paid to have an opinion. I'm somebody who has a platform to share my opinion. So there you go. All right, let's dive into it. Dennis Allen replacements happening. I hardly noticed Lattimore and Cam playing. It's because Lattimore shuts down an entire side of the field. Debo, I encourage you just to watch some tape, man. Just watch some tape, and I promise you might learn a thing or two. All right, let's dive into it. Dennis Allen replacements starting now. It has been an absolute, utter, disgusting, unfunny, horrible, no good clown show in New Orleans over the past few years because of this guy right here. Wah, wah. There you go. Yeah, Dennis Allen replacements is what we're talking about. I'm going to go through internal replacement ideas. I'm going to go through external replacement ideas. I mean, head to toe. To be honest, in October, to have this conversation, early November, it's pretty disgusting. But I will say this. I do believe that major changes will be coming soon. Whether it's in a few weeks, whether it's in a couple of months when the season's over, I don't know when it's going to happen. But major changes need to happen, and I have a belief that they will happen. So be sure to subscribe, lock us in, and join Saints Now today. So that way you never miss an update around the black and gold. It's a tough season. I understand that. I know that the energy and the vibes are low. But what I can promise you right now is I'm going to be here trying to tell you every single day why this team shouldn't fix everything, how they can fix everything, and I'm going to be bringing it to you from a fan's perspective. I've been a diehard Saints fan since I started watching the NFL. I grew up more of a college football guy, but I'm a diehard Saints fan, and I pride my content on being Saints content, Saints videos by Saints fans for Saints fans. So lock us in and join the channel. All right, guys, honest to God, this has got to stop. It's time to call it. It's time to be done. Pull the damn plug. When you have a 26-52 overall record, honest to God, honest freaking question. How many people do you know in your work industry, in whatever career you're in, could put up this type of work? And I'm not saying you go 26 wins, 52 losses. Like, that's hard to kind of compare it to being like a teacher. Let's put it this way. If you're a teacher and you have 26 kids pass your class, 52 fail your class, do you think you're getting brought back? Do you think you're a good teacher? Probably not. Just throwing it out there. But 18-24, but what have we done recently? Look deeper than the results. Look what the results have done. You're on a 6-game losing streak for the first time since 2005. Oh, and by the way, fun fact, if somehow, some way, the New Orleans Saints lose to the Carolina Panthers this week, this will be the very first time since 1999 season that the New Orleans Saints have lost 7 in a row. You know who the head coach was? Mike Ditka. You know what I was doing in the fall of 1999? Not much. I was not even a year old. And when you're a defensive-minded head coach and your defense is last in yards per game, is last in yards per play, is very, very bad when it comes to third down percentage. They're not good at keeping points off the board. When all of this is going on and you're a defensive-minded coach, really? Like, honestly, I don't even want to look at the offensive side of things. Offense strictly is being carried because of those first 2 weeks. The defensive side of shit is ridiculous. And let's just look at the results. Let's take a trip down memory lane, guys. I had to do this, so you get to do it with me. 47-10 win against the Panthers. Awesome. A lot of people said it's just the Panthers. Do it again. So we did. 44-19 win against the Cowboys. Great win. But every week, that win looks less and less meaningful because the Cowboys continue to lose games. So do the New Orleans Saints. And then disaster strikes when you take on Philadelphia at home. Close loss, very close loss. In week 4, this is when you decided that you had an absolute addiction to shooting yourself in the foot. Week 5 is when the tires just got torn off the car. Week 6, Spencer Rattler first start. Week 7, horrible game on Drew Brees' Hall of Fame induction night. And week 8, your offense puts up 2 field goals, and that's it. So this is what's tough about this. Because I ask the question, is this a desirable job? Like if I'm Mickey Loomis, if I'm Gail Benson, I'm trying to sell the New Orleans Saints to a head coaching candidate. What's my sales pitch? Hey, we're $63 million over the cap. You got an aging roster. You got guys that are, highly paid stars that aren't really putting up production. Oh, and by the way, we also are really bad at drafting. Oh, and by the way, we don't really have much depth. Oh, and by the way, for some reason, our team cannot manage injuries, and they get hurt, and then when they try to return, they get more hurt. Like, just at what about this job is desirable? That's not necessarily a knock on Dennis Allen, but it's a question to ask because it's like, hey, when we're about to go through all these head coach candidates, why would they want to be here? Honest question. I don't know, but I got to ask you this. If you're with me that Dennis Allen needs to be fired, just type fire down in the comments. Whether it's the fire emoji, whether it's the word fire, you just got to get it in the comments. The Saints cannot bring back Dennis Allen. They cannot. It doesn't matter that you have the injury excuse. It doesn't matter if you go on and win 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in a row. I don't care. I do not care. I could care less, to be quite honest. Fire Dennis Allen. Do the right thing here. Do right by your fans for once, Mickey Loomis. So you do have some options here. Let's go through them. You have internal options. And in terms of, am I willing? Clint Kubiak, it's kind of medium on me. Darren Rizzi, I would be interested as a head coach. And Joe Woods, I'm going to be honest, I'm good. No, I don't want a defensive-minded head coach. Joe Woods hasn't been historically successful as a head coach. So I'm just kind of in the camp of, if these are your 3 options internal, I think you just got to make an external hire. Like, continuity is wildly overvalued for the New Orleans Saints. Sometimes changing things up is a good thing. Not all the time. Sometimes continuity is also a good thing, but not all the time. I think the Saints need to make an external hire. I got a lot of I got a lot of targets. I got a lot of names. Got a lot of candidates that you're going to want to know about. But really quick, got to say shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. You can actually get $50 when you play 5 instantly when you download the Prize Pick app and use code CLNS. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members, and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks makes your game viewing experience so much better. And as a Saints fan, I need anything and everything to make my Sundays more bearable. If you use our code CLNS when you download the Prize Picks app, you will get $50 instantly when you play $5. Now, for Thursday Night Football, these are the projections I'm rolling with here. I like Tank Dell more than 4.5 receptions. Stephon Diggs, torn ACL. Expect Tank Dell to be a little bit more active for that Texans offense. I'm also going to take Garrett Wilson more on his receiving yards. I don't know. I wasn't really loving any of the Jets projections, but I was liking 63.5. I feel like that's pretty low for Wilson. And then Kaimi Fairbairn. I'm going to just have him making more than 1.5 field goals. So kick 2 field goals, and we're sitting pretty. And then I can make a good amount of money. So if you want to fade my picks, you want to tail my picks, I don't really care. Just make sure you do it with Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS. You'll get $50 instantly when you play $5. Use code CLNS to get that $50 bonus when you play 5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So Prize Picks, run your game. So head coach target number 1, and I bring him up number 1 because he's my favorite target, because he's the most popular name, and because he's a name that a lot of Saints fans have been mentioning. And we're live as we film this video. We go live every Wednesday afternoon around 4:30, so subscribe, turn on your noties. I asked the question, I said, who do you want to be the Saints head coach? This was the most popular answer. That's why he's the number 1 head coach candidate. He has been really, really good with Detroit since he's taken over in 2022. And not only is he smart, he's very creative. He's very wise, and he's just somebody who I think can stable the ship here. I think he can right the ship and make things easy or make things better and bring some stability and also bring creativity and a young, fresh, innovative mind to a Saints offense that, to be quite honest, like, shout out Clint Kubiak from making it better than last year, but I'm just going to be honest, it's really not that inspiring in my opinion. Well, Detroit, they're kind of the opposite of the New Orleans Saints right now. Like, you could probably take most of these stats right here, and you could make them the New Orleans Saints if you go back to the first 2 weeks. But ever since then, that's not the case. Detroit has been scoring a lot of points. They've been getting a lot of yards. They've been converting a lot and very often on third down. They don't turn the ball over much. They are very aggressive when it comes to passing the ball. They're really good when it comes to running the football, and they're good in the red zone. Like, what more do you want in an offense? And I would love Ben Johnson, but I'm going to go back to my point earlier. Why would he want to come here? It's a heartbreaker. It sucks to know that. But why would you want to come to New Orleans? Like, Ben Johnson had head coaching interviews last year, and he decided, I'm not really interested in any of those options. I'm going to go back to Detroit. I'm going to be the offensive coordinator. Maybe next year cash in a little bit more or in a better situation. Like, I don't think he was waiting for the Saints position to open up. I don't. It would be cool. It would be a lot cooler if he did, but unfortunately, I think this is the closest we're ever going to get to see Ben Johnson in some Saints gear. Shout out my girlfriend Maddie for making that jersey swap, if you will. All right, so head coach target number 2. Let's talk about Houston Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowik. And I was between Slowik and Girouard Johnson, but I think when it comes down to those two guys, nothing against Girouard Johnson. I'm very, very high on Girouard Johnson, and I think that whoever we do hire as a head coach, it would be really smart to bring him. Like, if you go hire Bobby Slowik as your head coach and you bring in Girouard Johnson to be your offensive coordinator, I'm all for that. I'm in full support of that move. He does come from the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, similar to Clint Kubiak. He was with the San Francisco 49ers from 2017 to 2022. Fun fact, that was all the years I was in college. I graduated in May of 21, though, so shout out that extra year. And also shout out fifth years. Slowik, he's been good, man. He's been a very smart coach. He's managed the development of C.J. Stroud well. He's managed the offense really well. And I do have one question when it comes to Bobby Slowik. Like, if you bring him in, maybe you can avoid having to draft a quarterback because maybe he could unlock Spencer Rattler or Jake Haener. Both players have upside. Both players have not been good enough. Both players could be better. Maybe Bobby Slowik could open up that ability and open up the playbook and and unlock these two guys to make them a contributing part of the offense and honestly make them a lot more dangerous than a second-year quarterback and a rookie looked this year. Another head coaching target, again, I'm not in the camp of wanting a defensive-minded head coach, but if you were to go get a defensive-minded head coach, it's not Robert Saleh, it's not Bill Belichick for me, it's Mike Vrabel. And he is actually currently working with the Cleveland Browns as a coaching assistant and personnel consultant. He was with the Tennessee Titans from 2018 to 2023. In that time, he was the coach of the year. He is a defensive-minded guy, but look, we also saw the Titans play really well, and so when it comes to Mike Vrabel, if you were to bring him in, he's a guy that I would want to see make a really good and a surefire hire bars at the offensive coordinator position. This is why I'm not necessarily sure I want another defensive head coach. We've done it. We're in the midst of it. Show of hands. Anyone having fun? Anybody? Anybody enjoying this whatsoever? I'm not. Like, I know that you shouldn't just entirely rule out certain coaches just because of their philosophy when it comes to offense or defense, but I don't like it. We're in the midst of it right now. Something has to change. Whatever. But again, it's not like Vrabel's a bad option. I'm just saying, like, if I were making the hire, I would avoid a defensive head coach. But I also can recognize that Vrabel has done a lot of good things. He has a winning record, unlike Dennis Allen. He's made it to the AFC Championship game, unlike Dennis Allen, the NFC. But point being, he's made it. Hold on, wait, for the record. He's made it to the playoffs. Not Dennis Allen. Oh, won the division twice. Dennis Allen could never. 4 winning seasons. Dennis Allen could never. Coach of the year. You know what I'm about to say here. Dennis Allen could never. So, again, I'm going to pose this question. I've talked about offense. I've talked about defense. I'm in the camp of I want an offensive head coach. But what about you? It's time to speak your mind. It's time to share your thoughts and let me know what you want. If you're Mickey Loomis, if you're calling the shots, who are you picking? An offensive or defensive head coach? Now, there are a handful of honorable mentions, and to be honest, there's just a ton of names that I didn't even discuss. One name, notably, I did not mention today, John Gruden. Probably going to go into a full video around him because I think that he would be a really, really good option for the record for the New Orleans Saints. Bill Belichick, obviously defensive-minded guy. Question marks about whether or not he can do really anything if he doesn't have Tom Brady. It's a fair question to ask, but I'm kind of also like, hey, Bill Belichick is one of the best coaching minds in the history of the NFL, so if he's interested, you might as well bring him in for an interview. Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. A lot of Saints fans, a lot of LSU fans. That's a pretty familiar name if I know ball, if you will. Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator with the Ravens. Look, Baltimore has a phenomenal offense, and he's been good this year for Baltimore. And I think that if you were to go and get a dual threat quarterback, a true dual threat guy, if you were to draft a Shador, if you're drafting Cam Ward, Todd Monken's a nice option to have because he has familiarity and he understands how to use Lamar at a very high level. Cliff Kingsbury, guys, I've been just blown away. I have been blown away, not just by Jayden Daniels, but the Washington Commanders as a whole. Cliff Kingsbury, interesting enough, he accepted a position with the Raiders and then backed out at the last second. So that part of things is still kind of weird. But look, if Cliff wants to get another head coaching job, I am not against bringing Cliff Kingsbury in. I think it would be a really, really good idea. And honestly, I think that he could bring some good coaches along with him. I think he could be a good draw for other players. And same with Steve Spagnuolo. Again, no interest in bringing in a defensive coordinator or defensive-minded coach. But, also, apologies for the typo on Steve Spagnuolo. Look, Steve Spagnuolo has won a few Super Bowls with the Kansas City Chiefs. Dennis Allen never did that. I don't want a defensive-minded coach, but if you're going to go get one, you might as well go get the one who keeps winning Super Bowls. That's kind of my thought process there. Now, Saints fans, if anything does happen, reminder, we're going to be going live. We're going to be updating you guys as coaching updates come in, as reports of, hey, maybe they're going to fire him, or no, they're not, and we're going to have to be miserable for another year. We're going to keep you guys informed every single step of the way, whether it's the regular season, off season, and anything in between. So y'all stay golden. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Booyah. All right. If you want Dennis Allen fired, type fire. Steve Spagnuolo, hell no, we had him before. Yeah, that's true. He did. He was with the Saints before. That's embarrassing that I spelled that wrong. Dude, I was looking at some of his yeah, he spent one season as the defensive coordinator. It was in 2012, and it was not a good year for the New Orleans Saints that year. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if there's rankings here of how the team was when he was around. That is the owner of the New Orleans Saints. Yes, that is Gail Benson. Tex just said, so to start things off for the next segment, we're talking about Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis and Gail Benson. And I have a picture of Gail Benson with Derek Carr and Dennis Allen and everybody. And he was like, oh, my God, that looks like Miss K from Duck Dynasty. I'm like, I know exactly who that is because I was a big Duck Dynasty fan, but that is Mickey Loomis. Or not Mickey Loomis. That was Gail Benson, which is funny enough. Mark says, I'm not a big Dennis Allen fan. Original 504 says Kirby Smart. Yeah, you're just going to have to get him out of college football. And if I'm Kirby, I'm not leaving Georgia. There's just literally no reason to leave Georgia. There just isn't. At this point in time, you are still on top of the college football world. There's none. There isn't. Fire Dennis Allen from Jace, from Skip, from If J. Good answers. No. Yeah. Pete Carroll. I want a younger mind than that. I do like John Gruden, though. Old name, but I like John Gruden, man. Hiring John Gruden would make me feel really nicey. Real ones know. If the Saints hired John Gruden, I would feel really nicey about that. Be fun. Derek Carr was good with John Gruden. Just saying. Just saying. Jace says I could be the head coach. Jace, you should apply. You should check out LinkedIn, see if there's an application for it. All right, last segment of the day. I'd go all out blitz to get Ben Johnson. Kind of where I'm at, but I am also in the camp of, look, why would he want to come here? You're going to have to give him a hell of a sales pitch. And to their credit, Mickey Loomis does give a good sales pitch, from what I understand. John Gruden would be the best overall candidate out there, but he can't get in the NFL because of a lawsuit. Mark, I don't know if it's that he can't go into the NFL. What do you think about Deion? No. Deion Sanders is not an NFL coach. He's a college coach. And why he's a college coach? Because his appeal is, you want to get to the league? I know how to get you there. I got there, and I've sent people there. He's not an NFL coach. I have no desire to bring in Deion. I have no desire to draft Shador. The Sanders family, they are talented football players, but when you're a franchise that is in the New Orleans Saints position, you cannot afford distractions like the Sanders family. You just can't. It's the same reason why if this was basketball, I would say you cannot draft anybody in the Ball family. It's too much of a distraction. Chase, I would love to be the head coach, but I am too smart to be the head coach. If Gale is spending money to win now, then dump a pile on Kirby Smart and try to win now. Michael, I don't hate that idea, but again, why would he want to leave? Why would he want to leave a national championship contending team year in and year out for a team that maybe competes for second or third place in the NFC South? There's just not a draw. There's not. Shaq said, you literally just said, I want to hire a racist. No, I said I wanted to hire John Gruden, the smart football mind. Said I want to hire a coach who knows football really well and who my quarterback had his most successful season under. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I want to hire a racist. I want to hire a coach and a football mind who's very smart and very bright. But Shaquille, if that's the message you're going to take, that's on you, man. I'm not the one saying it. You're the one saying it, brother. You're the one saying it. That's not my problem. That's yours. Drew should give it a shot as a coach. Maybe he's a QB coach. Not against that. Clint can be a head coach. I just haven't seen enough from Clint to be like, yeah, he should be the head coach. I just haven't seen enough. Eric Bieniemy, I don't think is a terrible option. I do think it's interesting that a team hasn't given him more opportunities yet, but I also do think that Bieniemy is a respected and smart football mind. So Shaquille, proof I'm not racist. Because otherwise I would sit here and bash Eric Bieniemy too, and I'm not. I actually like Eric Bieniemy, fun fact. Andrew says, what he did with Buffalo is insane. Aaron Glenn from Shaw, former Saints coach. I hope they get Johnson and draft McMillan. I would love Teteroa McMillan. He would be awesome in the Saints offense. That's just the tough part is like they have so many needs, dude. Wide receiver being a big one, and I do like when the Saints need a wide receiver because it does make things interesting for the draft. All righty. Trade for Malik Willis. Trade for Malik Willis. No, Shaw, it's not that I dislike Malik Willis. He's just not good at football. I don't dislike Malik Willis. He's not a good football player. If you're going to call me racist for that, then I would just encourage you to go look at the stats. He's not good. He's not. In his career, let's see here. He has the same amount of interceptions as touchdowns throughout his career. Great news here, though. In 2023, he had an 80% completion percentage because he only threw 5 passes. Less than 100 yards. His QBR was a 3.1. Shaq. Oh, no, I'm not saying there's not better options. I'm with you. I think there's some great options. I'm just going to keep going back to this. What is the selling point for the Saints? There isn't one. They're like Rattler wasn't amazing. Hayner wasn't amazing. You have Olave, which is nice. Taysom Hill's old. Shaw Gunna says he's 3-0. Okay, let's see the games that he's played. Let's dive into this. Oh my. So actually, I guess that's technically preseason. Yeah, because he only had one attempt. So yes, he is 3-0. One of the teams he's 3-0 against, Tex? The Colts, notably, just benched their first-round draft pick quarterback for Joe Flacco, which makes them a better football team now. The Titans, like literally one of the worst teams in the league, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, if we're gonna say let's go trade for this quarterback who's undefeated against the three of the worst teams, I'm sorry. I can't get on board with that. I can't get on board with that. I mean, shit, man. I'd rather go trade for Jameis again. Like, if it's what quarterback can we go trade for right now? I mean, I'm not even yet. Champ kind of nailed it. I'm going Cam Ward. If it's Cam Ward or Malik Willis, give me Cam Ward. Give me Cam Ward 100 out of 100 times. Titans defense is great, and Love has a turnover in every game. Yeah, shot. That still doesn't make. Well, first of all, the Titans defense is not great. Let's go. Let's do this. We're gonna do this. Titans team ranks for this season. For their stats across the league. Here's how their defense stacks up. They are 29th in points per game. They are first in yards per game, which is nice. That's solid. They give up not a lot of yards, but they give up a lot of points. Why is that? Well, because the other team is punting the ball and giving them good field position, or giving them decent field position. Excuse me. Their other team is punting the ball away, giving them bad field position. They get a lot of yards, but then they don't score points. They give up the 29th most amount of points. They give up 265 yards of offense, which is number 1 in the league. That's really, really good. They are okay. They're good on third down. They're atrocious in the red zone. So, no. The Titans defense, I would say, is okay. They are not great. But anyway, we obviously, Shaw, are not going to agree. Dennis Allen is the reason he's gone. Why would he come back? Shaw, I'm not saying that the Saints are going to trade for Jameis Winston. It's the principle. It's what I'm saying I would rather go and get Jameis back than, I mean, shit, man. I'd rather Taysom Hill be the starting quarterback over Malik Willis. He's just not good. He's not good. I have no interest in bringing Malik Willis in. If you want to bring in Malik Willis, fine. I'm just here to tell you that is a terrible idea. You are allowed to have that opinion. It's just a bad idea. It's just not. It's not something I'm in the camp of. All right, let's get into it. Time to talk about why this team sucks. Honestly, I'm actually excited to talk about this. This might be a 30-minute segment. I'm actually going to set a timer. This could be a 30-minute segment. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to get pretty upset about during this segment. I already know it. All right, this team is a joke. It's time to break it down. It feels like no, David, I would love Cam Ward. I would love Cam Ward. Cam Ward is my number 1 option at quarterback if you go draft one this year. I would rather have Cam Ward over Shedeur. I'd rather have Cam Ward over Carson Beck. Honestly, I don't even know the other quarterbacks in the draft. Like, there is not a good draft class for QBs. All right, let's break it down. We're not talking draft. We're talking sort of draft. We're talking about how bad this team is. Tex, whenever you are ready, my friend. Give me 1 sec. Sorry, I just had to pop my neck. All right, let's get into it. Let's break it down. This team is a joke. The New Orleans Saints are an absolute joke. The only problem here, it's not very funny. If you're with me, hit the sub button. Like, subscribe if you're with me, because today we are going to be breaking down whether or not the New Orleans Saints are on the brink of a rebuild. I think they might be. You have bad owner, or not bad ownership. You have bad management. You have a bad head coach, old roster. Like, this is a horrible, Terrible situation to currently be in right now. I mean, the issues, they're not just a coaching thing. It's not just a roster issue. It's not just the draft. It's not just the cap space. It's not just the injuries. From top all the way to bottom, this team has issues. And reports earlier this week, the Saints had a players-only meeting. It's the second season in a row that has happened. Apparently the vibes are good. Reports today on Wednesday, October 30th. At the time of filming this video, the reports were that the vibes are good in the locker room. I'm sure they wouldn't say that the vibes are bad. But honest question, how many coaches and how many teams do you know have player-only meetings year in, year out, win a lot of football games, have a great head coach? My point being, not a lot. Not a lot. Oh, and by the way, you're still $63 million in the hole for the 2025 salary cap. You have a bad roster of a lot of aging stars, players that are good at times, have been great, but at this point in their career, maybe they're starting to dip a little bit. Cam Jordan, I love him to death. He's one of my favorite players in the National Football League's history. His production's going down. Demario Davis, great player. Production's starting to take a dip. Tyrann Mathieu, great player. Production's dipping. He's not as fast. He's still a smart player. He's intellectual and instinctual, but my point being, the problems are deeper than coaching. There's so many issues. It's management, it's ownership, it's everything. And the first person that you can point the finger to is Dennis Allen. You are a losing head coach. This is a team that is ran by a loser. I'm not calling him as a man a loser. I'm not calling him as a man a scumbag. I'm not calling him as a man some terrible, no good, awful thing. I respect Dennis Allen as a man. I do not respect him as a football mind. As a football coach, he is a loser. He is a historic loser. He has only been a loser. Everywhere he's been, he has only lost. The Saints right now, as it stands, are the second worst team in the NFC. They have the 6th overall pick right now, and they are in the midst of possibly losing 7 games in a row for the first time since Mike Ditka was the coach back in the great year of 1999 when I wasn't even 1 year old. And again, this is a problem. Offensively, it's an issue. Defensively, it's an issue. Across all platforms. I mean, sure, you can say, well, they're still 17th in points per game. They're still doing good on third down percentage. They're still good at the red zone. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, anything positive that's on the offensive side of this is purely being carried by weeks 1 and 2. So you see the numbers on your screen. We've gone through the resume. Mickey Loomis, honest question. Exactly why is there loyalty to Dennis Allen? Like, I'm dumbfounded. I don't understand. What about Dennis Allen is so appealing to you? Is he a great cook? Is he packing? Like, what's going on here? Why is there any sort of loyalty? There shouldn't be. I talked about this in a previous video. I said, if you're a teacher and you have 52 kids in your class fail, but 26 pass, are you celebrating the 26 that passed? Or are you looking at the 52 that failed and said, damn, something went wrong here? The principal will tell you, look past the results. The principal will tell you, well, there was distractions and there was timeouts. We had kids that had learned that had issues learning, and we had kids that didn't want to be at school. For sure, there's reasons, and you see the analogy here. We had injuries on the roster. We had bad coaching. We had a bad game. The tackling wasn't there. It's basic stuff. It's very, very basic stuff that you can either A, work around and adapt and figure it out, or B, you nip it in the ass, you figure it out, and you make things better moving forward. And here's the situation. If Mickey Loomis doesn't have the stones to fire Dennis Allen, then he's got to get the hell out of Dodge too. Like, if you are so okay with mediocrity, you are so okay with being a loser, You're accepting the fact that you are a loser. You want to know who manages losers? Losers! Me? I'm not a loser. I'm somebody who wants to succeed. I'm somebody who, when there's a problem, I tackle it and I make it happen. When there is an issue, I find a solution. John Taffer quote is perfect here. I don't embrace excuses. I embrace solutions. So again, Mickey, I got to ask you this one freaking question. Why? Explain it to me. And give me, he was, no. I want exact reasons why there is this blind, unwavering, ridiculous loyalty and support for Dennis Allen. You can smack your gum all you want while you answer, but you better freaking answer for the Saints fans because this is unacceptable. This is not okay. When you put out a dog shit product like you have been over the past 3 seasons, you cannot expect for asses to be in seats on game day. You want to know what you should expect? You should expect what we saw from the Detroit Lions last year where they took over the Superdome. You should be expecting a fan base that's calling for jobs. You should be expecting players that don't want to play for a loser. Who's to blame for this, Mickey? Who's to blame? Take a look in the frickin' mirror. Now, it's time to describe the Saints in 3 words or less. I've done this question before, and I actually really love the answers that we get. Clowns, dysfunctional, frustrating. Those are my 3. So what are your 3? Describe the Saints in 3 words or less. Mickey, look, this is what's the most frustrating part about all of this. Even if you do fire Dennis Allen, who's going to want to come and coach you? Who wants to be a part of this? Who wants to take on $63 million over the cap? Who wants to take on a roster that right now is 16th across the league, but has all of their stars upwards of 28, 29, and over 30 years old? Like, I'm not sitting here saying that you have to have this massive youth movement, but even if you wanted to try and go and sign some free agents, whether they're younger, whether they're quality veterans, you can't freaking afford them. So again, is this a desirable job for any head coaching candidate? Is it a desirable location for any free agent? No. The answer is no. And Mickey Loomis, year in and year out, is taking Gayle Benson's wallet. He's emptying it out, and he's looking at all the cash and throwing a damn match and some lighter fluid on it every single year. At what point do you just take the massive cap hit, Mickey, and you say, look, this player isn't good enough anymore. This player isn't what we expected him to be. This player, we gave him way too much money. At what point do you just take the cap hit on the chin, you reset, and you do it next year way better? He's literally, Mickey Loomis is pulling off highway robbery with how often he is taking dollar bills out of Gayle Benson's pocket and just wasting them. Because it's not like Chase Young was some excellent addition. It's not like Willie Gay was this massive boost on the defense. It's not like Derek Carr has been this phenomenal, game-changing, franchise-altering quarterback. You can't afford top offensive linemen. You can't afford top defensive players. You can't afford top talent. You can't trade for players. You can't pay players. You can't, again, honest question. Why would a head coach or a free agent want to come to the Saints? I hate to be the negative Nancy. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I hate to be that guy. But why would anyone want to be a part of this organization right now? Unless you're drafted to them, unless you're traded against your will, why would anybody who can make a decision want to come and play in New Orleans? I don't have an answer. I don't have a single answer. There's not one redeeming quality. The uniforms are cool. There you go. The uniforms are cool, and they have really good food. That's about it. Let that sink in. We got a lot more to discuss. We got a lot more to go through. But I would not be able to make today's rant and today's show possible if it weren't for our awesome friends over at Game Time. And if you guys haven't checked out Game Time picks yet, you got to do it before the season is over. Whether you're trying to get tickets to LSU games, to Tulane, to the New Orleans Saints, you got to check out Game Time picks because it makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. You download the Game Time app, use code CHATSPORTS, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets that you know you're never going to buy in the first place. Game Time shows you vantage points from your seat. It's views from your seat. It's the best seats, lowest price guaranteed, and you can even access your tickets from your phone. It's easy to buy and resell tickets on the Game Time app, and if you use our code CHATSPORTS, you get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. That's code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. So, let's talk about the redeeming qualities here. A lot of bad cap spending, old roster, or aging roster, I should say. At least the New Orleans Saints are crushing it year in and year out with the draft. Right? Right? They've been really good drafting the past few years, correct? At least in the top 3 rounds. Like, in the top 100 picks, they've been knocking it out of the park, correct? Nope. No, they haven't. Majority of their top 100 picks over the last handful of years have been bad. I wanted to take this all the way back. So for the record, I'm not considering anybody on day 3 of the draft a notable draft miss. Like, sure, 4th, 5th round, you get some quality players in that. But I'm talking about top real estate only. Adam Troutman, of note, is the only player on this list selected after pick 100. He was selected at 105. So, there, 105th overall pick, not that far off. But you've missed on Isaiah Foskey. Kendre Miller is injury prone. It's heartbreaking. He's a great football player when he's on the field, but he can't stay on the field. Trevor Penning, he's shown a lot of promise this year. He's shown a lot of development and growth. Still a miss, I would say. I think many other offensive linemen or many other players you could have drafted at that position and been much better off. Peyton Turner, what the fuck were we doing there? Cesar Ruiz, I think he's a frustrating player. I'm just not very high on Cesar Ruiz, to be honest. Is he a starter? Sure. Is he the best option at a guard? No. Zach Bond, not even on the roster. He was a 3rd-round pick, and the Saints never used him correctly. They wanted him to be a coverage guy. He is a blitz off the edge. He is a attack the quarterback. That's always been his MO. Adam Troutman, like I mentioned, on a different team. Marcus Davenport, on a different team. He's on his 3rd team now of his NFL career. And he's also on IR. So yet another injury-prone player. Oh, and then remember Traquan Smith? Yeah, he was a 3rd-round pick out of UCF, and he's not on the roster. So again, I go back to this point. You have to stop missing on top 100 picks. Whose fault is that? Right back to Mickey. Right back to Mickey Loomis. The New Orleans Saints have so many issues. Who's to blame? Who's to blame on all of these? You have a loser head coach. You have poor spending habits, and you've been bad in the draft. You're missing on the ability to appeal to free agents and pay free agents. You're undesirable to coaching candidates. And also, you're bad at managing injuries. Injuries are something you can't necessarily control. I'll give them a little bit of leeway on that. But is there literally any other team that's more cursed than the Saints when it comes to injuries? Like, honestly. Like, figure out the health problem. Figure out the medical staff. Maybe they're not good. And, again, who does this all come down to? Michael Lewis. Michael Loomis. I can't even say his name properly, Tex. Michael Loomis. He is to blame. So, dear Mickey, or you know what? I'm going to go first name, last name because I'm still upset with him. Dear Michael Loomis, either figure it out, fix it, new medical staff, new head coach, new drafting, new scouting personnel, better management of money. I don't care how you have to do it. Promote Kai Harley, make him the operating manager of everything. I don't freaking care. Either fix it or get the hell out. The leash is on. It is done. You do not have another inch. You do not get another yard. Figure it out or get the hell out of here. Saints fans are over it. I'm over it. Producer Tex is over it. Nobody is happy with what's been going on. And when you spew out and you vomit up a word salad worse than anything I've ever heard, and you're sitting here saying, look past the results, that is a middle finger to every single person who has ever bought a Saints jersey, anybody who has ever worn black or gold, and anybody who has ever proudly yelled the words, "Who dat?" Shame on you, Mickey Loomis. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be disappointed in what you're doing as a general manager. You should be disappointed in what you're doing as a man and as a person who manages a football team. Shame on you. Now, I got to blow off some steam. I got to rant. I could have gotten a lot worse. I could have been a lot meaner. Could have been a lot more uncensored. But I decided to try and keep it reined in a little bit. You don't have to, though. Rant it in the comments. Get as ugly as you want. Say what you need. Get it off your chest. I'm here to be your therapy session. Get it off your chest. Share your thoughts. I can't wait because I think this is actually going to be a lot of fun to see in the comments section. So rant down in the comments section. Can't wait to see it. Y'all stay golden. Who Dat Nation. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. All righty. Here we go. There we go. 3 segments in the can. We are at it. We just got it knocked out. Do what? Yes. Dennis Allen has made this team worse than a practice squad. I'm not even going to try and argue against that because I don't disagree. Hashtag over it from Skip. Chase, Elijah, all showing love. Brandon showing love. John Edwards in the chat. John Edwards, one of our Super Chat MVPs last week. What a legend. All righty, guys. We are going to hop on out of here. Maybe bring Michael Thomas back. We've talked about him a handful of times. You know, it's not happening. It's not happening under this current regime. Saints fans, I really do appreciate you guys. We're going to get some content out for you very, very soon on the channel. Thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Watch party on Sunday. Do not miss out. We're going to have some fun. It's going to be a good time. So hope to see you guys there. Y'all stay golden. We'll see you on Sunday.